Hi, friends. My name's host Eric, and I'm supposed to talk about famous people. And I'd like to discuss a person named Bob. Now, you know a Bob somewhere in your life. Everybody does. Maybe your Bob is Julie. Julie loves singing. She sings at the top of her lungs to the radio, and she tells you one day she's going to be a professional singer. However, you've got good pitch, and you noticed she's actually tone deaf. She has no clue where the pitches are. Okay? Julie is Bob to singing, or Bob to professional singing aspirations, right? And we'll say more precisely who Bob is right now. Bob's a tone-deaf quadriplegic who has trouble asserting himself. Surprise! He's directing and choreographing a new music video that features lots of breakdancing. Not only that, but he's also starring, as Bob has cast himself in the role of Frank Fancyfeet, breakdancing master. So, Bob's not very aware of who he is and how to maximize who he is if he's trying to attain things that are in direct contradiction with who he is, right? In other words, I can apply myself and do anything I put my mind to, except menstruate. Can't do that. All right, let's see our Bobs now. Bob's A to Z. Hillary Clinton is charisma's Bob. Why she would ever have gone into politics is beyond me. Bill Walton is broadcasting's Bob. If you have a basketball game that you want to watch, but Bill Walton's broadcasting it, you just have to turn it off. Because instead of a basketball game, you now are watching Bill Walton poo on your ears. Dave Matthews is music's Bob. Kings of Leon comprises all Bobs too. Hey, we should be musicians at some point, they thought. Except they're completely unqualified to be musicians or make anything good anyway, right? It's like, hey, let's be musicians. We can't hear, have no fingers, and no sense of rhythm. Okay. Trump and AOC are political Bobs. They're both ESFPs, and they're both wrong for the same reasons. In other words, it's not like AOC's right on some things, but Trump's wrong on some, right on something. No, they're both wrong for the same reason, which is they're not qualified to engage in political discourse. In typology, Dave and Shan are Bobs. C.S. Joseph, the rational typology people, and their little team of haters, and the erstwhile Queen's Gambit, those were all Bobs in all capital letters. They're really bobbing it up. Marty, the Bob of the INFJs. Foucault is a Bob philosopher. Almost certainly an ENFP. Lots of feelings about how corporations are bad and people are being exploited, but no good reasoning. And not even the common sense to check, would that actually work? Like Foucault's justice model is, let's get all the stakeholders together, treat each individual instance as a distinct entity, unrelated to any other, not refer to precedent, but instead get all the stakeholders to agree on what's just, and that be the outcome. I mean, Foucault, you can't even get me to agree that you're an intelligent person. How in the world could you get me to agree with your desired outcome in a matter of justice? We would sit there for decades and nothing would happen. No progress would be made. You're a dumb man, Foucault. But Zizek, you're worse than Bob. You're pretending to be Bob to afford more cocaine. Dick Cheney is nuanced moral reasoning's Bob. Kanye West is humility's Bob. Jordan Peterson is framework's Bob. Everybody Everybody's down here in the contention level going, yeah, Jordan, I like the way that sounds. I like the way that sounds. Well, why do you like the way that sounds? And why does he like the way that sounds? And where's that discussion been? Oh, it's just another guy telling you, my function bias is the one that we really should project onto everybody, okay? Because it's really this is the right function bias. It's a abject failure to do framework. Biden is the Bob of mental capacity or clarity. It's hard to explain. You really need to read or watch Meow. Is the Bob of answers. You have no business making an assertion of any sort if you're going to answer like that, Bob. When I challenge your assertion, you know. Warm robots, the warmest robot, and there are various peoples, are the Bob of trolling. But add a severe brain injury to Bob. Then it's pretty accurate. Dr. Phil is the Bob of honest engagement with guests. That fucking guy. There's one episode where this girl he's scolding and wagging gives totally cogent and respectable feedback, and he shifts immediately. I'm not allowed you to talk to me like that on my show, you know. It's like, okay, Bob, Dr. Phil Bob, go fuck yourself. Phil Collins is the Bob of earnest music. You could put a lot of people here. You could put like Pearl Jam or again Soundgarden or some other crap like that, you know. Kirsten Dunst is acting's Bob. She is a terrible, 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 terrible actress, and why she thought that was a good field for her to go into is beyond me. Black Widow's sexual relationship with the Hulk is Bob of the canonical MCU stories. That totally didn't work. It's getting dark, big guy. Sun's going down. Scarlett Johansson, even you, who's an extremely good actress, did not convince me that you wanted to suck that guy's dick. Conan O'Brien is late night's Bob. Absolutely just trash that I have to endure to get to any content that I want to see that's a clip from a show. The guy himself. He's awful. San Francisco happened when Bob wrote the homelessness protocols. It's like, there's a certain kind of mindset. It's like TI polar probably, NI polar maybe, I don't know, but that refuses to understand that approaching an instance of a problem like meow, it establishes an element of a standard approach. In other words, it sets some precedents and it has consequences beyond the immediate scope of the thing you do. So it's like, oh, we have some homeless people. Well, let's build free houses for them. And that's as far as they think, you know. Okay, but then won't that really encourage more homeless people to come? Because are we then going to build free houses for them too? Aren't we just incentivizing homeless people to come here? Well, Bob doesn't think things like that. You know, he's not capable of thinking things like that. So, because it's just too complex of calculus for him. All right. Let's scroll down. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the Bob of intellectualism. That is not a smart man, okay? Neil deGrasse Tyson is very dumb from everything I can tell, at least based on this. Every time he seems like he's very impressed with himself and the smart things he's saying, those are not smart things he's saying. They're either really obvious things or sort of frames of reference to show how big something is, or it's like, okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson You bug the shit out of me. I'm sorry. I have no reason to hate you or anything, but you just bug the shit out of me because you smugly seem to think you're intelligent. And you're not. Evolutionary biology is the Bob of STEM. Only in evolutionary biology do people not have to actually answer anything or provide any actual explanations for things. They go, well, you know, genetic variability within genome. Yeah, Mendel proved that with his peas. Your claim is different. You purport to explain something and then refuse to do so, and when pressed further, get rid of definitions to make it impossible for others to do so? Evolutionary biology, you people do not deserve to call yourself scientists. You deserve to call yourself mythologists, storytellers. One Piece is animes, Bob. One Piece is not a good show. Why people watch it, I don't know. It's a kid's show, maybe. Rationality Rules, a YouTube channel, is good thinking's Bob. Rationality Rules is like rational typology, right? It's like the DPRK. Well, let's add lies to our name and hope that it's just the words that matter. Rationality Rules is basically a determinist. And you know, it's so easy to discount determinism. You can disprove determinism in 1 second. All you got to do is point out, well, sometimes I do things because I want to and can freely choose to do them. Sometimes I do things I don't want to because there's some pressure and stuff. And occasionally I do stuff that I have to under threat of force. Say, like the one time I was arrested. We all agree those are 3 distinct examples of different levels of my freedom of choice, right? So the notion that we don't have free will falsifies the idea that you're ever more or less willing to do something. Additionally, obviously determinism is bullshit because if we were to define the terms in a way that would allow us to conclude that determinism is the correct answer, then there couldn't be conditionality. If we don't have determinism and we do have free will, the exact way that would look like is causal finality plus conditionality. If you want to tell me free will is bullshit and everything's determinist, the first job you have is to describe what it would look like if free will weren't bullshit. If you can't do that, you're not saying anything. Rationality Rules. I mean, this guy is a moron, and he thinks he's like God's gift to intellect. That's what pisses me off so much about it. Life insurance is the Bob of investments. You invest to get a return on your money, okay? Ooh, life insurance. I'm going to get a big return. After you're dead, moron. Insure your life. You insure things that might be subject to surprise damage or something, right? It's like, I'm going to insure this propane torch to make sure it doesn't ever run out of gas. Well, I mean, you can't insure that. It will run out of gas if you use it. So you're going to have to buy a new one. Life insurance seems to ignore that basic principle. Go, well, you're taking care of your family after you're dead. I should have saved all that life insurance money I paid to you guys and just kept that in a box and given it to them when I died. And they wouldn't have to deal with you. And ultimately, you've profited off of us because we paid more in premiums than you're paying out. Yeah, but if you had died when you were 40, you would have made a profit on this. No. My loved ones would have gotten the same money sooner in exchange for my death. That's not a good return on my investment. In other words, for me to ever experience a good return on my investment, I have to be alive. It may be the case that as I'm alive, I'm thinking, I want my family to be okay after I'm dead. But once I'm dead, I won't be thinking that anymore. Duh. I remember when Rachel, a long time ago, was fretting over not having any real contingency plan in case I were to suddenly die. And I said, well, I mean, Rachel, if I'm dead, your financial problems are the least of my worries, and hopefully the least of your worries as well. I mean, after all, I'm dead. So it's like this larger story involving us and you and everything has really gotten fucked up because Eric's dead. Who fucking cares what happens after that? I don't, obviously. You will, but that's for you to deal with. I mean, that's just sensible thinking, right? Once you're dead, it's no longer your fucking problem. So these are the Bobs of the world. These are just some of the myriad Bobs of the world. I hope you enjoyed. Don't be a Bob, okay? If you actually are named Robert and your name's Bob, I'm assuming you're a different Bob than the one indicated here. You can be Bob, just don't be a Bob.